how is everyone this evening?
Very nice. On a nice, cozy, rainy evening. Uh-huh.
Yes, I know and well for us in Trinidad. It is raining. It has not stopped. This has been raining all day.
I think we have a yellow alert though.
Oh yeah, we are.
Yeah.
We are. And how has your week been?
Two public holidays. The week was fantastic. It was
Okay.
fantastic.
All right.
I mean, I worked for the 2 days. I work. I kept working on things that I had to work on, but
Mm-hmm.
2 days. Yeah, that was very good.
Okay.
That
That
was
is
very good.
that is good to note. I see we have someone new here this evening. Lily, are you there? All right. She probably not close to her phone. Or she probably shy, as it's
Welcome, Lily.
So welcome, Lily. Um, Mr. SGL, are you there? All
Anastasia
right.
is
I
back.
don't know if everybody is not close to their phones, but you're hearing me, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Wonderful. Anastasia, are you there?
Yes, I am. Good
All right.
evening.
Good evening. And how was your week?
And Anastasia.
My week is always a mix. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if it's not a mixture, then you won't get the opportunities to utilize the tools. So the mixture is necessary. Okay. And hello, Alexis. Are you there?
I'm here. How are you guys?
Good, good,
Good.
good, good. And
Nice to see
you?
you.
Good.
All right. And how was work?
It's going. I'm sorry I didn't make it last week, but I did want to say like something positive and from talking and like changing your mindset. I actually started changing my mindset like weeks ago, and it actually has really helped and opened up a lot of doors for
Okay.
me. So I do appreciate you guys, for basically explaining and breaking that down because although we hear it, we sometimes just don't take it in full action until full effect. So I do appreciate you guys, ladies.
Of course, of course. That is why Befitment is here. That is why Befitment is here. And Marissa, are you there?
Yes, I am. Good evening, Beefit family.
Hello. And how are you? How was your week?
It was wonderful. So, of course, knowing that we had a long weekend, put up prepping myself Monday to Wednesday. Normally you go through the thing thinking, oh gosh, 5 whole days of work.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you know you have lots on your plate. But even though I had a lot on my plate, when it was a short week, had been an exceptionally, happy mood and all that sort of thing. And I was able to rest over the weekend, even though the weekend had some challenges in terms of emotional situations and so forth because of family members' health and that kind of thing. I still
Right.
was able to take that moment back, step back, and assess myself and get up and go again.
Yes, yes.
Instead of get the better of me.
Okay. Well, that is really, really good to note as well. Yes, 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 yes. Because the challenges would come, the breeze would blow, the tides would come in, the water would do what it has to do, but we have to ensure that we remain as we are meant to remain. And I know for a lot of us, and of course, I don't know how much of you all realize, but we are smack dab in the middle of the year. This is week 26. And how has your first 6 months been thus far?
In terms of accomplishing resolutions, you're talking about?
In terms of, yes, accomplishing resolutions, um in terms of where you started in January, are you managing things better now?
Oh, okay.
Yes.
For me, I normally make my resolutions on the date of my birthday. and not necessarily at the start of the year, because I always say that is me closing another year and starting a new one. So I'm on a New Year's resolution type of person.
Okay, okay,
So come September, I will have a resolution at hand, right?
okay.
But in terms of where you are, I think I made some progress in
Mm-hmm.
terms of how I see myself, and I know it's thanks to you all. I
Yes.
mean, you all were there when I was going through a particular trying time of my life in terms of adjusting,
Mm-hmm.
and the support is very it's helping you to internalize everything that you think and even what you experience and how you feel and react to circumstances as well. So I
Yes.
think it's helped me along the way. And I really do love that there's that extra support from the fitness side where we know we have the hikes and all these different things. So when I think back on being more active and getting that time for yourself to just step back from the hectic pace of life and say, this is my time, this is me doing something fun and not thinking about what groceries to buy or what I have to do next week for work and all these different things. Yeah, I'm loving that total experience. And that's how it has been for me.
Okay, wonderful. And of course, what we tend to forget a lot of times is that life always requires balance. So as much as you are doing the groceries and the house and work and all of that, you have to also ensure that you are also doing things that you enjoy, and you are also incorporating fitness, because I also recently started back with fitness, of course, with the Fitman Tuesday and Thursday. And it has certainly been assisting in terms of your overall tiredness, your overall mood. You're able to get a lot more accomplished throughout the day. And even though every Tuesday I look at Annalisa, our trainer, and I said, Annalisa, you sure? You sure? And it is really, really helping overall. And it is something that is, I know a lot of times with fitness, you see it as a chore. Initially, you would always see fitness as a chore. You're not seeing it as something that's, you're not seeing it, you know the benefits, but still, it is something that you see as a chore, even though you know that it would benefit you. But you really have to overcome the block of seeing it as a chore, because a lot of us see it as a chore, a painful chore that would have pain involved for tomorrow, because your body would be in pain and you have to move slower, you have to do everything slower. But in the end, it really, really does benefit your entire being in the long run. And you don't really notice it until you start back. Because we all start and stop, start and stop, start and stop. And you really only notice it when you start back, because it really, really is an important aspect that is so often forgotten a lot of times. And I see we have Ebony as well. Ebony, how are you? You have not been on in a little while.
Hello, I'm good.
All right, just
I'm
a
just
bit like the weather right now.
no, I'm good. I'm just heating up some tea in a little
Okay,
home.
okay. Understood. And for everyone online, tonight's topic, which is setting future intentions. And of course, this entire week is focused on setting intentions, because a lot of times we may have intentions, but we are unable to actually carry them out. So you may have intentions in our mind, but when it's time to actually put in the effort to accomplish the intention, a lot of times the dots don't connect. So, what does the word intention mean to you? Do you also see that as a chore?
It depends on the task.
Okay.
Because if it's something you enjoy doing, most of the times you wouldn't see it as a chore. Um, you'd see it as something that's pleasurable. But if it's something that sometimes you feel like you have to, even though you don't want to, or you're forced into it, then yeah, it becomes more of a chore. And it also depends on how you look at things, because I think for everyone, if you hear my indicator on, I'm sorry, I'm driving. Um, it also depend on who you talk to, because different things, um, people respond to different tasks and different things differently. You know what I mean? So it all depends on your perception and how you see whatever the task at hand is.
Can
Okay.
you all hear me now?
Yes,
Yeah.
we can.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Hello.
Uh, I think about intention or intentionality as mindfulness.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's the way I think about it. And at the same time, I think you might have great intention. You are mindful of this or that or the other. At least the way I'm thinking it right now. And of course, to this, you can teach me and I can learn a few things more. But I think about it, something you could have the best intention in mind, and it is still, I think when we think about chore, we think about it in a negative light.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes when you have great intention, it might require for you to give more of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It may even require a degree of sacrifice. And again, we might say, well, we don't want to sacrifice ourselves for the benefit of others. But I think as parents sometimes, or as people who are in relationships, sometimes our best intention might be to please or to make things easier for our children or our spouse. With that sense of intentionality, we might have to kind of accept certain things or address certain things a different way than if we're not being intentional. At least that's the way I'm conceiving it right now, but the night is young, so let's hear more. It's good to be here.
Yes,
I may
yes.
not stay too long, but I wanted to at least drop in.
Okay, okay. Noted, noted. I heard you mention the word sacrifice, but even when you think of the word sacrifice, is it really sacrifice or is it what is required for you right now? Because when you really
You
look
say,
at it,
yes, I agree. And is it sacrifice if you are investing in what's yours too, right?
exactly. Yes,
So
because you see the word sacrifice again, we have a lot of we look at
negative
sacrifice.
connotation with
Yes,
it.
yes, yes, yes. And remember, as life continues to evolve and change, remember there would be different requirements. There would be different things that would be required of you now in this moment. So it's truly not really a sacrifice, because what is required for a person who is a young mother will not be the same requirement as you were a teenager or as you were a 5-year old. So it's just different requirements in that moment for you as an individual. Because remember, you're not really giving up anything, because at the end of the day, you're changing. Change is the only constant. Change is always there. So it's just this is what required for me for this version of me in this moment. Because what is required for especially Catherine in 2025 is not the same requirements that was required in 2020. Totally, totally different requirements. You understand? So it's just different requirements at different moments in time. But does anyone else have any ideas of when you hear the word intention, what does it mean to you? And do you see it as a chore?
For me, something that I plan to do, something
Mm-hmm.
that I want to accomplish,
Okay.
something concrete that I want to accomplish.
Okay.
So, because I want to do it, it doesn't really, it would require some effort,
Yes.
and it may require me having to change some things or move some things out of the way or move things around, whether it's the way I think or whether what I'm doing. But it's something that I'm seeing can be accomplished. That's what I want. And so sometimes it may seem a little long in coming. And I guess that is also to do with how many times you probably stop along the way to doubt that you're going to get it, and you second guess yourself a little bit. But because it stays there as this is what I want to accomplish, then the tasks to get there may seem a bit numerous sometimes, but you're still holding to this is what I have to do to get what I want to get, because this is where I want to be. This is what I want. And so it doesn't seem like a chore, because it's not as though somebody else is imposing it on me, that this is what you need to get. It's this is what I want, and these are the steps. So what am I willing to make the steps? This is what comes to.
I have a question. And if it was something like exercise, would it still be as clear as you are explaining it? Or is it based on the intention? Because for some intention, it'll be like, yeah, I know I have to do it, but.
Now, the thing about me and exercise, we have it's a slightly strange relationship in that I know I want to exercise. I know that I should exercise. But the but comes into what is the form of the exercising.
Right.
I have a tendency to favor movement, not aerobics or things like that, but walking, going in open spaces. Once it's stationary and repetitive, then for me, that becomes a chore. So I know that those things have their places, resistance and so forth. But if it lacks a sort of excitement, because I am not naturally, now you wouldn't believe it, I used to play hockey at national level. I was a track athlete at university. So I guess those things speak to why I like things that move. There's fresh air blowing on your face and that. So, and still, why don't I get up at 5 a.m. and walk? Excuses.
Yeah, no, and that is why I asked the question, because it's not just limited to you. It's really about the intentions where you know that you have to get this thing done. It's not the intention where, okay, it's something that you enjoy doing and you know you need to get it done. It's the intention where I know I really have to get this done, but you have no zeal. Every time you think about it, you just move on to the next thought. Even if you pass and you see the exercise equipment, the shoes, I am talking about in instances, and it doesn't have to be exercise. It could be whatever that you are currently thinking twice about having the intentions with, because it's all good and well when you have the intention for the thing that is enjoyable and you want to do it and you want to see this result. But for the things that are a bit more challenging, how do you approach it?
I think for me, with respect to exercise in particular, is what is the purpose for me exercising? And because for a long time I tied it to weight management, not going beyond a certain size, then what I did was I readjusted the diet to eliminate certain things which would cause in my body weight gain, without acknowledging the fact that you need the other parts. You need the strength training, you need the cardio, you need these. So it's really cheating on really what you want to be, which is overall fit, tight, and healthy.
Yes.
Yeah. So right now I'm confessing we're doing a little cheating here. So I'll be limited the sugars mostly and so forth, which the things that I noticed would keep my weight within a certain range. And therefore I could fit into my clothes. But the other things are absolutely needed. And that is where I have to reconnect all aspects of exercise. What I did was I kind of cut off one piece and say, okay, fine, this is for weight gain and weight management, and I can do it via another method. So I need to reconnect things and say, okay, you need toning, you need yes, you need yes. So I'm getting there, I'm getting there. 5 o'clock in the morning.
But could I? That's also tied into procrastination too, right?
I don't know about procrastination. I told my mind
I'm
that
not
I'm
just.
gonna do it.
I'm not talking about you, for example, and pointing fingers at you. I'm just saying in general. It ties into procrastination.
Yeah,
I don't know. I just pulled my mind into something else.
it would definitely tie into procrastination as well. And that is the purpose of the topic tonight. It is all well and good again if it is something that you really want to enjoy, and yes, I am going to do this. But for the things that are a bit more difficult, how do you get over the hurdle? And in terms of thinking of it and how you are going to accomplish it, are you clear on what you want when you look at whatever is the activity that you need to do? Or is it still a bit unclear, and do you have a lot of doubt about it and uncertainty about it, and in some instances, fear about it? How do you view it? And again, do you view it as a chore?
Sure. There's no fear, really. Just get started. So perhaps going with Lisa's point, it may be procrastination.
Mm-hmm.
Just get started. I think for me, it would be a question of put it back into your routine.
Mm-hmm.
Make the space for it again in your routine. I've changed the routine so that something was put into that space. And so it's just a question now of put it back into your routine and stick with your routine. Because the other thing that I replaced the exercising with, I've stuck with it. I've stuck with it. It's a rare occasion when I can't do it and then I do a shortened version of it. But that was a commitment I made to myself, and more or less I've stuck with it. So it's just a question now of put this back into your routine. Expand your space a little bit. Expand your space. So if it means going to bed a little bit earlier, because sometimes I do go to bed quite late doing some things, and then I just shift my hours because I'm really flexible like that. So get up a little earlier to allow for that 30 minutes. And it literally is, for me, it will be 15 minutes walk in one direction and walk back home.
Okay.
30 minutes of walking. And I could augment it with some small weights and weights on the feet, weights in the hand. And so it's just without it being part of the schedule, then it is forgotten often
Okay.
and it is substituted.
Okay. So after you make room for whatever your intention is, do you know clearly what it is you would like to achieve? Do you know, like, do you have these steps? Are you clear on what it is you would like to achieve? When you
Yes.
think of your in whatever your intention is, it could be whatever it is. Are you clear, or are you still, I'm not really sure, where are
I
you
think
functioning from?
some things are easier to identify what you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
Some things may not be as clear, although they're really clear. It's a question of whether you want to do what has to be done. So, in my instance, there are two things, and one, the steps are just as clear as the other. But do you have not the willingness? It's not the willingness. It's just a question of get out of your own way so that things can happen.
Okay. And Anastasia,
Yeah.
are you there?
Yes, I am.
When you have an intention, do you look at it as a chore? Do you look at it 50-50, or do you look at it as I am going to get this done?
Well, sometimes you start off good. Everything nice, you're feeling happy. Yes, 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 I can do this. And then as you go along, there are challenges. Everything comes with its challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the time when you really have to push through. You have to know, you have to see the bigger picture. You have to see the end goal. You must have that in mind. What is the end goal for when things get in hard? And yeah, you find a way to to get yourself going. Sometimes you fall off the horse, you fall off the horse and you have to climb back on and start again. But at the same time, you're not starting from zero. You would have covered some ground. So you jump on the horse again and you keep going. But you have to know that part of fulfilling your intentions is challenges. Challenges will come because it's life and challenges will come. So you cannot go into it telling yourself that it will always be smooth and easy sailing. So I guess you have to have a plan for when the challenges come.
Yes, most definitely. And Alexis, are you there?
I'm here.
All right. When you have to do something and you set an intention, how do you view it? Do you view it halfway, 50-50? Do you view it 100%? Or do you view it with uncertainty?
Depends on the situation. I normally always view with uncertainty because I don't know. I mean, depending on what it is, I just don't know what the outcome is, so I always get nervous.
Okay. And usually with intentions that are viewed with uncertainty, are they achieved or are they not achieved?
Um, the uncertainties, I would say they're normally are achieved, but I just I'm more cautioned. It gives me more thought process on how to move forward with it. I just think that's the discernment, just that I can sit down and really process it versus just jumping into it. The ones that I jump directly into is the ones that don't never go well.
Okay. Okay. Noted. And Abina, are you there? All right. I don't know if Abina not close to her phone. Okay. So you have an intention. Do you all write it down?
Too much writing.
Yes, I'm here. Sorry about that.
That's okay. When you have an intention, how do you view it? Do you view it as something that could be accomplished or something that is, and you have a lot of uncertainty with regards to it?
I think it's something that could be accomplished, but going through the process, it'll have obstacles,
Yes.
to send you back down,
Yes.
and then you'll go up again. It'll always have setbacks before you could, reach where you want to reach.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I guess it's a process, you just have to go with the flow and, try your best,
Yes.
Mhm.
And another question, do you all write your intentions down?
No.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, like it would be like, let me say, I will like write down like my goals,
Mm-hmm.
right? But that would just be it. I will write the goal, I write down my goals, whatever I want to achieve, and that's it. I don't really, you know.
Okay. All right.
Hmm.
So for any intention, you should, once you sit with it and you know what it is that you want to achieve, you should definitely write it down.
Should write it down, yeah.
You should definitely write it
Mhm.
down. And even if you may not have the first 10 steps, in a lot of instances, you might have the first step or the first 2 steps.
Yeah.
And even after writing it down, the next thing that you should do is read it every day
So true.
to reinforce, because remember, this is an investment in you. You are investing in yourself.
Mhm.
And the same effort for the persons that are on here. A lot of times we put so much effort into other things, other people, and especially our kids. But when it comes to us, you might set an intention, you leave it as a thought, and then by next week it is forgotten.
Yeah, so true.
You know? So once you
Yeah.
have your intention, write it down and reread it every day. And another thing that we really
Mm-hmm.
have to consider is acceptance.
Okay.
Accepting that the challenges will come.
Yeah, yeah, you can't get away from that. Mm-mm.
No, it's not if, it is not me, it is not, I am not sure, they will come. And when the challenges present themselves, it's not about, again, you might fall off the horse, yes, but again, you fall off the horse today, as I give you all the example with my nephew. He would ride that bike, he would fall, he would get cut up so bad, and by tomorrow, he is back on the bike. Because again, it's based on what is the intention. The intention is to have fun. I might be in pain. The pain is short lived, but the intention at the end of the day is really to have fun. And once you're rereading your intention every day, so it might start off at A, and then after a week, you might realize, wait, I need to tweak it a little bit. Let me adjust it a little bit. Because again, once you keep rereading it, it would become even more clearer. So even if you are uncertain or you are unclear, you have an intention, but you still don't have all the details about it. Once you keep rereading it, you would recognize, okay, I'm starting to see where this is going. I'm starting to see what the next steps are. But a lot of times when we just leave it in your mind, in your head, you don't write it down. A lot of sometimes somebody call, you have the thoughts, you forget about it for the next 3 days. Something else happened, you forget about it for a week. And then remember, once you keep doing that again, you would be in December thinking about resolutions and you would recognize, wait, how am I not getting anything done? And that is why it will keep remaining as a thought in your head because you're not writing it down and rereading it every day. And with rereading it every day, remember, you're solidifying what it is you want for yourself. Because yes, we would reach this stage where you would have the thought and you would act, but as of right now, you should certainly write it down and reread it every day. And in reading it every day, once the steps come, it could be one step, it could be 2 steps, take the step. And even if you fall off the horse, the next thing is a lot of times, again, of course, my intention was to, and because you didn't achieve it, you throw everything away altogether. Because my intention was to, and you think that you didn't live up to the intention, and you think that it was supposed to be a smooth road, no bumps, it was supposed to flow like this, and because it did not flow how you think that it should have, then you throw everything away altogether. And a lot of times that is what we tend to do. But remember, challenges come for your benefit, but in the moment you really don't see it like that. And a lot of times you're looking at everybody else to blame everybody else, but this is about you. Challenges are always about you. It is never about the other person. It is about your growth. It is about your evolution. As I was even talking, I have a cousin right now. I remember which part he is in the world, but he is studying, and he was also talking about the challenges that he is encountering. And I was telling him that he should certainly take up the challenge because I remember, because I was telling him as well, every challenge that you are facing right now, preparing you for where you need to go. Because I had an instance where at a particular job, I was asked to do stock taking. It was not part of my job description, so of course I said no. And then after I left that job and I was about to apply for another job, they had this job and one of the requirements was stock taking. And what did Adana do? Not go and do it. So now you are missing something that is required because, of course, you didn't take the opportunity when the opportunity presented itself. So once you miss facing the challenge, sometimes you need this challenge, this little activity to assist you somewhere else. But of course, in the moment, you don't know that. So you brush it off altogether, why they want me to do this additional thing. You have all the excuses, all the reasons why you should not do it. And then at certain time, you're now staring at the screen like, oh my gosh, is that stop taking the asking for? And of course, I don't have it because I never did it. You can't put it on your resume. Yes, Anastasia, I'm seeing that you have your hand raised.
That is the next thing with intention. You have to leave room for the opportunities that the universe is going to be sending your way.
Always.
Because sometimes you set off on a path and you say, yes, this is the path. And the universe come and put something else on your path. And you say, but that is not what that was my plan. My plan was for this. And you know, and you want to jump over that. But remember that the universe will have everything done map out for you already.
Yep.
So sometimes you just have to go with the flow. You know, it's not what you plan, but you have to go with that flow because that flow might be just what you need to take you to the bigger picture. Because remember, we just seen the end result, but we really don't know what the journey will entail for us to reach to the end result. You understand? But the universe know. So the universe will set up whatever it is have to set up for us to reach to the end result.
Because honestly, who had to go through a challenge right now and didn't learn from it throughout your whole life? Who went through a challenge and did not learn anything from it? And you see, you really have to see challenges different. You really have to view them differently. Even with an intention that you're for something, an activity that you really don't want to do, like exercise or whatever else it is, you really have to view it differently. Because once you perceive it a particular way, you would continue to pass it by. And of course, the opportunities that link to it as well, just like in my case with the job, the opportunities will pass you by because you did not take up the challenge and attempt to overcome the challenge. You looked at the challenge. Listen, you all are asking me for too much. This is outside of my job description. And of course, when the opportunity presented itself, now you can't apply for the job. And whatever, as Anastasia said, whatever is sent, when it comes again, remember, it's not about. A lot of times we look at the things from, I know initially, this was last year when we spoke about base level. When you're looking at it from just your perspective, but what about the whole picture? How does this benefit me in the grand scheme of things? It's not just about today. A lot of times, yes, we think about today. And another thing too, anything that requires extra effort, a lot of times, no, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do anything. But everything every day requires effort. Every activity that you attempt, there would be challenges. It's just to accept it and move on from there. And that is where you're viewing it as. This is for my benefit. You're not seeing it in the moment. You're really not seeing it in the moment. But you just have to hold on and you would see, oh, this is why that happened. You know how many jobs after I leave and go to the other job and you're fretting to do the thing. And when you reach by the other job, you're grateful you did that thing because it's helping you in your current position. So many times, over and over and over and over. I know we have two hands raised. Yes, no, Catherine's hand was raised first.
What I was going to say, of course, I was smiling when you were talking there just now, the last part, because I remember a situation where I went out to Barbados to work, and that job, I could only describe it as that was fire in hell. And when I was moving on to the next job, I went to the interview, and the one interview is just a one-person interview. And my resume, my CV was on his desk and he had it, but he had highlighted certain things. And reading upside down, what should I see? Compensation management, highlighted big and bold and underlined. So it actually gave me an opportunity to even prepare to talk about compensation. because I saw that, okay, he is very interested in this compensation thing. But what I was going to say before that was sometimes you have an intention, and you asked earlier if we have ever faced a challenge that was something that you didn't like. And I remember a situation where it was, for me, it was devastating what happened. And I could not understand, because in my mind, sometimes we say we see the signs and all these different things. Everything was pointing in a particular direction, and I was gung ho. If you want to think about romanticizing something, someone, I was, oh, you could not dissuade me from that. And when the blow came, what I would call a blow, it took me a while to, first of all, accept what had happened. And I didn't like it at all, because after all, you had this intention. So it's possible for you to have an intention to acquire something that is not for you in the first place. It's just for you to learn more about yourself. And in that space, I recognized that, well, after about a good 2 years, because it took me that long to even start to process and deal with it, was that sometimes the challenges come. You may think you have an intention and you want to accomplish something, but the challenge that comes to you might sometimes be for you to understand that this is not the direction for you to go in the first place, and that there is something in you that is causing you to want to stay in that space and tell yourself you must accomplish something. Whereas what I had to realize was that there was a lack of worth in me. There was a lack of self-worth. And that is why you were trying to go, because you put the person on a pedestal above you. And therefore, you, without even consciously being aware of it, you created space for someone who saw you as an option. Not even an option, frankly speaking, let's be honest. Not even an option. You were not on the horizon at all. You were just in your own mind and your own thing. They were one space and you were two oceans apart, but in your mind, you were actually in the same shore. And so sometimes the challenges come to set you where you're really supposed to be, and to show you some things within yourself that you're not realizing that you have reduced yourself in a particular way. Not even consciously, but you have, I don't even find the words right now, but you have reduced yourself. And you have reduced yourself in a particular way that is very, very damaging to you. And so sometimes, you peel the bandage off a little bit. Nature might put a little something over it. The blood might stop flowing. Or the universe might just say, see you losing that hole too. Come, let's just, as you're passing the bed, just you knock your toe so bad the whole thing just fell off your foot, because you need to wake up in that space and realize that this is something that you have set the intention, but this is not for you. This is not for you. And the reason why you have identified that as something you want to accomplish, there's something in you that needs work. And once you could figure that out, then you get to breathe again and say, oh, that was what that awful experience was about. This is okay. But it would be nice to be in that space when you're going through it, and as you said, accept and say, okay, this is what it is. This is what it is. But without that, you're going to find it was a horrid experience.
Yes. But even within that, when you're growing up, or when you're growing up and you're in school and you have tests at the end of the term, or You have a competition, sports day, and your parents telling you will not win all the races. Right now, I have a nephew. He is learning, and he is not appreciating that at all. I think he is 4 or 5. And if that is the understanding that we expect, and we tell children, you are not going to always come out on top, then why be so hard on yourself when things don't work out how you think it should go?
Because we could have given instructions.
Yeah, because we tell kids that all the time, you're not going to win everything. When they in a race, when even for exams, it's a competition. There will be a winner, there will be a loser. And if that is the case, why, when things happen to us that we deem as unfavorable, why we don't just say, okay? Or why do we stay stuck in that space for so long? When life is about duality. Anastasia, yes, I'm seeing that you have your hand raised.
Yes. Sometimes you have to see the challenge as character building as well.
Yep.
Because challenges, to me, build your character. And sometimes you might try to dodge the challenge and go under, go over, come around to see if you could reach to the end result. But if you reach to the end result without going through your challenges and building your character, you won't be able to sustain the end result.
No.
So you have to make up your mind that you have to go through your challenges.
Yes.
In order to be able to sustain the end result.
Yeah. And also another thing that you need to look at, where did this intention come from? Who did it come from? Where did I take it from? Was it based on comparison to other people? Where did this intention come from? What was the origin of this intention?
That was me. Yep.
A lot of times you set intention, but is really an intention where you are comparing yourself to other people. The intention did not come from within you. Sometimes you're looking out, you see something on social media, you set an intention for something, but where did it come from? What is the origin? Did it come from you? Did it come from other people? Did it come from something that your parents always used to tell you? Even though you know that is something you really don't want to do, where did the intention come from? Because just as Anastasia said, once you have an intention and sometimes it is not in the best interest of you, the challenges would come. And remember, the purpose of it is to get you into where you're really supposed to be. And a lot of times we get stuck, and you see, this is why I doesn't want to set no intentions, and this is why, and this is why. No. Because remember, everything is about you. Everything is about you. Everything that you are currently experiencing is about you. We are living in a shared world, yes, but we all have individual worlds that we are living in. What is perceived by me is not perceived by Catherine. What is perceived by Abina is not perceived by Tennille. It is all different and it is all separate, even though that we are all connected. So even if you have an intention, you have to ensure that it comes from you. It comes from your truth. It doesn't come from external to you. Something you see online, something you saw your neighbor doing, your friend doing. You heard this person, it worked out for this person, but is that what is required for you at this moment in time? Did you sit with the intention to figure out if it's something that you really want? So these are some of the things that you really have to think of in terms of where did the intention come from? You sit, you do some reflection. And that is why it is important to also sit with yourself, because you would recognize, okay, no, this is really something I don't want to do. I really want to do it because I want to compete with A, or I want to compete with this other person. But It is not something that is coming from within myself that I would like to achieve and I would like to enjoy the end results. And once that is the case, again, once you know what the intention is, sit with yourself first, do some introspection, some self reflection to figure out where did this intention come from. And is it coming from a space of competition where you want to compete with somebody else? Or you even want to sometimes show off on somebody else, when a lot of times the persons that you want to show off on, they're not even paying attention. They're not even paying attention. That is why, again, it is all about you. Whatever you encounter on your journey is all about you. Even when you encounter the things that you do not want to do, please do not do like Adana and say, no, I'm not doing it. Because the opportunity that is coming requires that you do this thing so that you would be in a better space than you currently are. A lot of times, again, we look at it, we dismiss it, and then you realize, oh gosh, you not needed that. It's like you're building a puzzle and you reach the end and you're missing one piece. And for the puzzle builders, that will make you feel to pull all the hair out your head. So you really, really, really have to ensure that your intention comes from a pure space. It is not coming from any external sources. And once that is the case, as Anastasia said, you would be able to sustain it, because once it's coming from outside of you, you will not be able to sustain it. And write it down and reread it every day. Sometimes you might think, or even you might start off with the intention wasn't the best because it was based on external, your neighbor, your friend, competition. And then after, with rereading it, you're sitting with yourself, you're doing some introspection and self-reflection, you would recognize, I really don't want green. I really think I want the blue. And then you develop it in that moment. Write down what the intention is. And then you would see the steps would start to show themselves again. When you meet the challenge, when you meet the obstacle, you do not have to throw everything away altogether. You really, really do not have to throw everything away altogether. Because, again, just as we tell the kids when they are growing up, you are not always going to come out on top. There will be a winner, there will be but then what even is a loser? Because at the end of the day, every challenge that you encounter, there is a lesson, and that is the purpose of it. Sometimes you really have to look less about winning and losing and more about the lessons and the experiences. Because in those moments, that is where, because do you learn more from winning, or do you learn more from unfavorable experiences where you might lose in the moment? Where do you learn more from? You learn more from the unfavorable experiences, but a lot of times you're always trying to run from it. When the unfavorable experiences, or what we deem unfavorable, really shaping your character, shaping who you need to be, strengthening you for tomorrow, but yet every time you approach it, you run. And that is what life really is about. There would always be challenges that you really have to accept. And that is why I posted, I think it's on Saturday, for everyone to see, because this week is a very important week if you are somebody who is currently struggling with setting clear intentions, because this week we will be doing a deep dive into this topic. So for those of you who are struggling with it, sometimes year after year, and sometimes, as we discussed also, in instances where you have clear intentions for some activities, but for other things, you're passing it by because you're thinking this requires too much effort. So if it is something that you are interested in, this week is a really, really, really important week for you. You have 26 more weeks. Or you could count it down from next week is 25. You have 26 more weeks in 2025. We are at the smack dab in the middle of the year. So if in doing some self-reflection, you ask yourself the question, what have I achieved thus far? What do I want to achieve? What are some of the things that you had on the back burner for so long? Do you want to revisit them? Do you want to set clear intentions for them? And if it is something that you are interested in, jot down your questions and ensure that you are on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of this week. Walk with your pen and paper. Ensure that you are prepared to set your clear intention. So you're using it for the duration of the year, and you would use it for everything else that you really need to achieve moving forward in your life. Because a lot of times too, of course, we have the thought, but we don't know how to make the thought into reality. Sometimes the thought is just remain a thought, and then the thought fades away. So if you want to know how to move the thought from your head into reality, because a lot of times you have intentions for a lot of things. My intention is to go back to school. My intention is to, of course, exercise. My intention is to buy a new car. My intention is to get a new job. So if you would like to know how to maintain it and to ensure, that is something that you could certainly make, well, you could make it work for you better, because a lot of times you're not even aware of some of the things. And that is why I'm telling you all, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is so much deeper than Monday, because Monday is just the tip of the iceberg. Monday is just the tip of the iceberg. And of course, for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, it is premium membership. So if you are interested in it, guys, I'm telling you, you don't want to miss this week, you know. So even if you take the time today or tonight or tomorrow during the day, jot down your questions and bring them. And you ask them during the sessions, and you will get all the clarity you need. You have Tuesday, you have Wednesday, and you also have Thursday. So let me just let you know about the Better Series classes that we have available this week. Are you all seeing my screen? All right. So the Better Series is really a lot of mini mindset workshops, and it happens every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 6 to 7 p.m. Sometimes it goes a little over 7 p.m. So on the 24th, we have Unlocking Growth Through Reflection. And we would be discussing understanding the true value of celebrating the past. Because as we just discussed, a lot of times we look at the past, we look at the challenges, and we think that that was one of the worst things that ever happened to me, not realizing how much you have grown from what you had experienced. And then on Wednesday, we would be discussing moments of meaning and attachment, because again, you know, attachments does have us in a lot of difficulty. So how to draw deeper life and leadership lessons. And then on Thursday, we would be discussing the formulas of wisdom for intention. And so Thursday is now like the day where after we discuss, it's like the practical. So we will be discussing exercises, command words, desire, and goal setting, guys. You see this part here, goal setting? So if it is something that you are interested in, please reach out to us. It is a part of premium membership. So if you are interested, please reach out to us and let us know. You have 26 more weeks. You have 26 more weeks to achieve whatever it is you would like to achieve. And you could do it week by week. A lot of times you look at it and you're seeing the whole long staircase now. You could do it day by day, moment by moment, week by week. You don't have to look at it anymore and feel overwhelmed, because the steps will be broken down for you this week. And imagine you're getting these steps 6 months before your New Year's resolution. So by the time December, you should be a pro. You don't have to know. Befitman taught me this already. So by the time you know December comes, you are a pro. You're setting the clearest intentions for 2026. All the things that you have on the back burner, you're saying, wait, you didn't even realize I accomplished all these things already. I have to get new things. I have to set new intentions. So this is the opportunity. Of course, premium membership, it is $96 TT, which translates to, just now, let me just let you know, 15 US. 15 US. Now, I'm not sure of the prices of things. At 15 US might be a Starbucks drink. So if you sacrifice one Starbucks drink to invest in yourself, and then of course with premium membership, it is not just limited to the classes. You have access to the fitness, because again, fitness is an important aspect that we do not take into consideration. And you have consultations. Is really a serious investment in yourself, because a lot of times you're living and you're struggling for so long and you want to move out of this space and you don't know how to move out of this space. So that is why the premium membership is really a good investment to the best version of yourself that you can be. Again, if you want to invest in yourself, I know 6 months have already passed, but now you still have the opportunity, because there is still 6 months to come. So make the best of the 6 months that is to come. Walk with your pen, walk with your paper, because there is so many nuggets of wisdom within those sessions. So many things that you are unaware that you are missing, that you require to achieve the intention that you want to achieve. You don't even know that you're missing it. So think about it. Reach out to us. Nicola, are you there?
Yes, I am.
So let us know. I know we have the camp coming up, as well as the road trip on Saturday. I know I gave everybody a little bit more information about this week's session with the Better Series workshops. So can you let us know about the other activities?
So we have our road trip. You all hearing me?
Yes.
Okay. So we have a road trip on Saturday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and we are heading to Las Cuevas Beach. It is free to attend. So if you're interested, you could message us, road trip, at 336-1809. And then if you do need transport, that is also available. Our meeting point is Grand Bazaar. So we're meeting together and we're driving up together from Grand Bazaar. And then we have...
Nicola, is there a cost to the transport?
So it's $130. And then we have... share the other one. Our B Squad Java Camp, which is from the 14th of July to the 31st of July, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. and it's at a cost of $600 per week. So some of the stuff that we have would be mind mastery and wellness, nurturing relationships. They'll be learning fine dining skills, cupcake canvases, a sip and paint, games and outdoor activities, a swimming pool, and much more. We do have field trips as well. So it's for youth between the ages of 12 to 17. So if you're interested as well, or you know anyone who is interested, they can message us, Java, again at 336-1809. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Nicola, is there room for sponsorship of these camps?
Yes,
if someone wants to sponsor a child?
Yes, so if you're interested in sponsoring a child, partnering with us and sponsoring a child, yes, they can do that as well.
Yes. Genius goals. I know the question was asked because, of course, the app was down for 2 days. So for the persons who usually answer the Genius goals question, you have until Wednesday at noon to submit your responses for last week's question. As it relates to this week's question, you all should probably consider doing it after the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday sessions. So after you have attended the classes and gathered the information that you require, then you could attempt to answer this question. Because this question could only be answered after you have attended the sessions. So by the end of the sessions, you should be a pro in setting clear intentions. And let me just read the question for you. So even if you didn't have an intention before, this is something to really sit and, again, as we also discussed, do some self-reflection and introspection, but you are doing it after Thursday. Well, you could do it, yes, but in terms of setting clear intentions, you're doing it after all of the classes this week, because this is what the classes this week is. The classes are really geared towards. So the first part of the question states, my current intention for my life is as follows. And again, you're answering this question after Thursday, because just as we discussed, you might think that your intention is some one thing, and again, you are missing certain characteristics that are very important, and you will discover it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to be able to answer the question more clearly, because a lot of times you're missing things and you are unaware. So let me read the first part again. My current intention for my life is as follows, and you would list it. And then the second part is, I will achieve it by adopting the following steps, of course, which would also be discussed in great detail Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So walk with your questions, even these two questions, and anything that you are unclear of, ensure that you ask the question during this week. So whatever thoughts might come to mind, jot it down. Whatever intentions that you might have had years ago, dust them off and bring them, and you would get the details about how you achieve them. If you know anyone who is currently struggling with this particular topic, feel free to send them our information. They could reach out to us, and we would ensure that they would be able to attend the session, because this week is a very, very, very important week. So you have 6 months to practice before the new year. So ensure that you walk with everything that is necessary, and also walk with your pen and paper. Clear your schedule, because this week is a really, really important week. I will post the question online, and remember also that you are answering after you have attended, because I am telling you, certainly you are missing certain things. And that is why you may not have been able to achieve things that you set out to achieve in the past, because you're certainly missing things and you're unaware that it's missing. Do we have any more questions before we end tonight's session? No? All right. So guys, thank you for logging on. I hope to see more of you tomorrow, Wednesday and Thursday, so that you can really get the assistance and the support that you require, and the clarity also. After this week, things would be a lot more clearer in terms of setting intentions and achieving it, and not just letting the thought remain a thought in your head that you revisit every 6 months. So guys, thank you so much. See you all tomorrow from 6 to 7. And I hope that you all get the clarity that you all need, so that by December you would be a pro. And invite a friend. Anyone you know who might be struggling in this area, invite them. Good night, everyone. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful week.
Good night. Good night, everyone.
Good evening.